Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classics. This is episode number 27, and double number 2621. I have a Marvel trade and DC trade, and a trade release from, I think it's from IDW. Yeah, IDW. Both basically magical-based stuff here, this one. First that we have is Doctor Strange by Jed MacKay. Volume 2, The War-Hound of the Vishanti. This collects Doctor Strange, volume, I believe it's 7, issues 6 through 10. So, we reveal a lot of stuff in these issues. Number 1, we reveal General Strange's backstory over the first couple issues of this book, where he apparently fighting a war with the Vishanti, not against Vishanti, basically working with them, and like fighting against this war went on for 1,000 years, and apparently he wanted his emotions back or something, so he killed a bunch of sorcerers, making his own body. Also, he was indirectly responsible for the events of Death of Doctor Strange. Yes, believe it or not, he did that. Like, they mentioned some of the events of Doctor Strange, which of course Jed MacKay mentioned that because he wrote it. Yes, he did. And also, he's also the one who killed the guy from the previous story arc. Yeah, Ogmon, which one suspected Clea of that, except that Clea basically told him, no, I didn't kill him. General Strange did. And also, General Strange is going to do a really silly thing by kidnapping Clea's newborn sister, who doesn't have a name until the last issue of this book. Yep, she's basically a baby. So, how do they defeat General Strange, his main villain, of pretty much these first 10 issues? Well, they're told, basically, Doctor Strange talks to, well, Umar, who is his mother-in-law, who, by the way, is very beautiful, just like her daughter. So, basically, she tells him, rescue my daughter, meaning the younger one, not Clea. Clea doesn't say rescue her, she's right there. So, rescue her. She says her younger daughter, but that's basically it. So, he basically fights General Strange, but does not kill him because he has a Hippocratic Oath. He does not kill. Not necessarily, no. He occasionally uses out black magic, but he's never really killed anybody per se. Well, I think he may kill some demons, but never kill a human. So then the story ends with him trying to rehabilitate him. And also him meeting Dr. Z, the wacky doctor, using that to help him defeat it. And of course, basically New Visitor is born, and they need a name. So Clea decides to name her after Doctor Strange's late sister. And also you find out apparently Doctor Strange, before he was a doctor, he was a farmer's son. I'm like, that's interesting, Jed MacKay. I'm like, wow. By the way, Alex Ross does a fantastic job with the artwork. Like, the back cover, it's obviously his. The front cover, yeah, that's his too. With, of course, the interior artwork, issue 6, done by Juan Gideon and Biscal Ferry. This is issue 7 through 10. This book is fantastic. I give this book a 10 out of 10. In my honest opinion, one of Marvel's best books put out right now. Also, for some reason, Doctor Strange's book, the way he's drawn this book, it's like basically the artist of the book decided to draw almost exactly like Benedict Cumberbatch for some reason. I'm not sure why. Alright, next up we have is some Usagi Yojimbo. This is the Origins Wanderer's Road. This collects basically issues 1 through 6. I think this is from the IDW era. So they have a few different stories here. I think this is either from IDW. It's written, drawn, and lettered by Stan Sakai, who still does this very day. So, the opening story features a lizard who everything's basically his annoyance until he meets up with, and then he basically is annoyed by a look like a butcher who chases him up this tower, and Usagi is just there, and he follows the lizard on top of the tower, and this pig butcher, yes, a pig who's a butcher, doesn't make any sense to you? No, it doesn't. Also, and of course, Usagi's kind of annoying. Basically, he thinks he's doing it on purpose, like knocking snow off, knocking out his drink down the tower. So he ends up basically like, kills him, hey, give me your wood. Give me your hacks. Chops the tower, and basically it's like, and so just by sheer coincidence, the tower falls right into his shop, and it's like, you crushed my roof. Like, I think I've twisted my arm, and Liz attacks him, and then of course apparently like, then Usagi just takes the lizard with him. And he's with him for the next few issues. We see, of course, there are some bullies here. Lizard helps him out too. Helps out basically just a soul here. It's a great standalone story. And then basically move on to see, well, the blind swordsman is back. Yes. The one apparently only sensed basically his nose because Usagi chopped off the previous story. So he fights up with some bandits. Meets up with a lizard who ends up by the end of the story just become his drama companion. Also, Usagi is obtaining the end. He's going to say an abandoned temple. I'm like, okay, not a bad idea. Have a fight, and of course, Lizard throws him off. The Lizard goes with him, and basically he has a scar but in the story. And then the very next issue, we see these guys just chasing, basically off this demon woman. And of course, well, Usagi deals with her in a way, fights her, and she gets beaten by the end of the story. The very next issue is basically him and I with Gin. Yes, the rhinoceros who he met at the beginning of the series. Yep. So he basically is hired to escort this T. These kids to follow him around. I remember also sometimes basically the way he's drawn, it seems like they forget the fact that he has horn chopped off at some point. Then he just kept him around. So then the next issue is we have Tomoe and Naragi basically chatting about, and of course they're discovered by an assassin who ends up stealing a particular blade. And Toei just happens to run into Usagi on the way fighting him. And of course, they agree to kind of work. He agrees to get the sword back and fights people who actually have it. Really good stuff here. I thoroughly enjoyed this stuff here. Great book overall. I love the issues here. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Yep. Like I mentioned, this is the origin. So I think this is like the early stuff. Let me take a look about that. Excuse me. Wanderer's Road. Which I believe this was also, some of the stuff in here was also, I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was basically, so Wanderer's Road. Okay, this was originally published, this is just a mini-series. I did the publish, this is actually originally published as issues 7 to 14 of Usagi Yojimbo. I'm guessing yeah, it's basically the Fantagraphs there. That's where these issues come from. Yeah, it's a mini-series. It says it's basically issue 7 to 12. Yeah. I don't know why I haven't got my hands on Samurai yet. This is the second book, but I really enjoyed this. Yeah, IDW for some reason would like when they had a license to publish, at least when they were given the chance to publish Usagi Yojimbo, they would occasionally reprint old stories in color that were originally published in black and white. And this is one of them. And I think that was a good way to bring the old stories in color again, because I think the Dark Horse era, they went back to black and white, and now he's back at Dark Horse. It's been IDW for a few years. He was IDW very long, Stan Sakai. Oh no, he was there for came on in 2019, and he left in 2022. He was only there for 3 years. Which, that is interesting. I'm not really sure exactly why he decided to leave IDW, because he published good stuff. I mean, this is a good chance to publish his work in color. I mean, they did the same thing with Turtles, where they published old stories in color with the color classics. So, they did the same thing with basically the old Usagi Yojimbo stories. and for some reason they decided to stop publishing them. Now, if I meet Sam the Sakai, I will probably, I will probably ask him, like, well, the thing I would ask him is basically like, why did he go to IDW and why did he decide to leave? Because it's an honest to God a really good question. Yes, why did he go to IDW and why did he leave? I mean, he was only there for 3 years. And he put out 31 issues, plus, of course, his color reprints. And not much of the old book basically published in the Origin collections. Not really, no. They only did, like, roughly, think about it, it was, like, about 4 miniseries. They basically published books in color. Roughly put, they published, like, the entirety of the, I think it was most of the Fantagraphs era. I'd say the first half of it, per se. It wasn't the whole thing. They still have about 14 issues left, but they decided to stop. Either that he had disagreement with IDW or something else. I have no idea. Okay, so this is pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Sweet. Next up is going to be basically Too Much Human Fantasy. Okay, thanks for you.